What's happening, man?
Welcome back to the MMA Plug presented by DenverSportsBetting.com on Mile High Sports Radio 98.1 FM in Denver, Colorado. This is Mile High Sports Radio. You can stream us worldwide at www.milehighsports.com. Hit us up on the Go Fast Energy Drink hotline and text line at 303-831-1340. We're going to dive into the UFC 34 betting preview presented by DenverSportsBetting.com. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz, sitting here alongside Josh Fremd, the LFA 2020 Male Fighter of the Year. Josh, this weekend we have a stacked card that is going to be action-packed. There's some great matchups on the undercard, but we have a massive 6-fight main card that is front-end loaded by a couple of top contenders in the flyweight division. We just spoke with one of them, Brandon Raw Dog Royval. But getting into the thick of things here, let's discuss the main event that is going to be between two top-ranked contenders in the middleweight division. We have Jared Cannonier taking on Kelvin Gastelum. Josh, what are your thoughts as we take a look at this fixture matchup in the middleweight division?
Man, that's a banger right there. Jared Cannonier and Kelvin Gastelum. Hold on to your seats for that one. That's going to be a great one. But honestly, I'm excited to see how this one plays out. I do believe personally that Kelvin might be on the later end of his career, and it's fun watching him fight, love watching him fight, but I'm excited to see this play out because I think Jared's gonna come out and be really dominant and show something that we haven't seen yet from him.
I think that you could be right there, but I also feel that Kelvin is still young. We can't get that
still relatively young.
Yeah. He's had some wars underneath his belt, but I think sometimes with Kelvin, and it was alluded to by his very good friend, teammate, training partner, all across the board, in Henry Cejudo, that there's times where Kelvin has been known to have commitment issues, to where he's spending more time just basically hanging out outside of the gym, or he'll be training, but he's not committed to the diet. He's not committed to those end of things. So, obviously when you're the same dimensions as flyweight. So believe it or not, folks.
Fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact. Look this up. You can Google me.
Google me.
Brandon Royval and Kelvin Gastelum are virtually identical when it comes to height and reach. They're both listed at 5'9", and I believe Brandon is listed at 70.5-inch reach with Kelvin at 71.5. They're virtually identical in terms of those two metrics.
One's a flyweight, one's a middleweight.
Yes.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, crazy, right? But it also mentioned just like that goes there. Henry alluded to him loving to eat and maybe having a little too many vitamins from time to time, aiding the food habits.
Hey, I mean, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Being in the sport, it can beat you down doing the same thing day in and day out, and it can get a little monotonous, especially if you don't have a fight coming up. So, looking at it from a different perspective, it's understandable. But if we have a Kelvin that comes in committed, motivated, we're going to see a great fight from him and a great performance from him.
Absolutely. And that's what I was kind of getting to is if we see a Kelvin that has committed himself back to the process and fell in love with the game again, I think that is a guy who could very well. It's only going to take him a couple of fights to get back in the mix of being out in the outside looking in of a title elimination fight. Obviously, he's gone through a bit of a skid since he fought against Israel Adesanya for that fight, which was one of the most epic battles in middleweight title fight history, if not the best middleweight title fight in history. It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
He's had some ups and downs since then. He had the poor outing against Jack with the heel hook. He then came back with a strong showing against Ian, but then he fell against Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
Robert Whittaker is Robert Whittaker.
It's Robert Whittaker, of course.
Right.
But
so that's where it's misleading, though, Josh. You have some people out there that are saying that, oh man, well he's lost so many times that maybe he should reconsider. Nah, there's only a couple of those fights that weren't competitive.
Yeah.
The Jack fight being one of them.
That one really stuck with me. He looked a little lazy in that fight, and that probably is attributed to his commitment issues there, probably with that camp. And I remember reading stuff about how he just really wasn't focused for that one. But
maybe the hairdo too.
the hair, that sticks with me,
That
haunts
was
me. That was bad, man. That was bad. But yeah, like he bounced back against Ian Heinisch. But like you said, going against Robert Whittaker, I mean, the bar so high for Whittaker, it's understandable. So yeah, I mean, as we're talking, you might be shifting my mind here now that I'm saying this out loud. So with my picks and everything, I'm excited to see this play out. I just got more excited for it.
Oh, certainly. So speaking of the picks, shop around, obviously, folks. Find the best value for your money amongst the books. But general consensus out there has them coming in. These odds are presented to you by DenverSportsBetting.com. We have Jared Cannonier as the favorite at minus 145 with Kelvin Gastelum on the comeback at a plus 125. Josh, who do you have?
You know, I've been questioning myself because of my picks last week. Didn't go the way I anticipated it, and I have something that I want to say, and then I want to change it, but, you know, I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to go Jared Cannonier. I think that he's going to pull this out and show why he's atop the middleweight division. He's one of the elite. I'm going to go, you know, value pick here. Jared Cannonier, TKO, knockout, round 2. It's plus 750.
Interesting. A TKO against Kelvin.
I know, right?
With that big block head.
That's a big head. It's a big target.
Big. Okay, I like how you tried to spin it there. You're trying to spin it. Spin-a-rooney. Spin-a-rooney. Well, I think that you're wrong on this one.
Hey.
I think that Kelvin is going to bounce back, and I think that this is going to be a strong back-and-forth war, though. I think that Cannonier is also going to be someone who's looking to bounce back big time after his last outing. I think that this is going to be something that is you're either, as Anthony Lionheart Smith says, you're either climbing or you're defending
a spot.
Or if you're not doing either one of those two, that means that you're falling.
Mm-hmm.
So right now at this point, since Cannonier was no longer on the climb, that means that right now he's at the point of defending his stake. He's defending his claim and his spot on the mountain. Should he fall to Kelvin, then he's on the descent.
The descent, yeah.
And sometimes, you know, it's just in the fight game as you start to get older, after someone who hits as hard as Kelvin does, it's never going to be easy to recover from that. So personally, I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum on this one. Moving along to the co-main event, which surprisingly is a couple of vets. You know, it's not to slight them, it's not to disrespect them, anything at all. But when you have a front-end loaded card the way that you do with two top flyweight contenders, the UFC does not give themselves any sort of leeway or favor by trying to build the flyweight division. No. When they don't put those fighters who have those single-digit numbers by their name, not in these highlight marquee type of fights. That's just my opinion. But you also have another fight of the night potential contender as the second fight on the card with Vince Pichel and Austin Hubbard, both two Denver fighters. But nevertheless, the main event is with the long-standing fixture of the UFC lightweight division in Clay the Carpenter Guida, taking on Marco Madsen, the former silver Olympic medalist who is coming back after a little bit of a layoff. But they're going to be tangling a couple of wrestlers getting down and dirty in that co-main event. Josh, what do you think?
Man, yeah, it's unfortunate. I think it's a miss by the UFC by not having the correct people in the co-main event. But nonetheless, we're here, and we do have a legend of Clay, like the legend likes of Clay Guida up on the co-main event, which is also, it's kind of entertaining. And Mark Madsen, who's, like you said, a silver medalist in the Olympics, all-around great wrestler, 10-0. Even though he was off for a little bit, I think he's going to come back and have a strong showing. You know, nothing against Clay Guida. He's a legend, but better days are behind him. I think that Mark Madsen's going to go out here and get this done relatively easy.
I think that you hit the nail on the head there, which, you know, in the era of us seeing some of these fighters toward the latter stages of their career getting the axe from the UFC, Clay Guida recently got a new deal. So it's kind of crazy just to see how sometimes the dynamic works
The way
out there.
it goes, yeah.
Obviously, he's a grinder. He's a company man in that regard. But like you said, I think that his best days are behind him. I am going with the Olympic medalist here in Marco Madsen. Now is the time where Josh and I are going to put the spotlight real quick on a couple of fights or fighters that we have our eyes on this weekend, and maybe some value bets and picks that are associated with them. Me, I'm sticking with the two Denver boys. I'm going with Vince from Hell Pichel taking on Austin Thud Hubbard. Austin Thud Hubbard is one hell of a fighter, man. He is as tough as it gets. His nickname is Thud for a reason. He is the former LFA champion. So everything that he's done on the route to this point has proven who he is. But on the flip side, you have a guy in Vince from Hell Pichel who is essentially the same guy with a different mask. I look at these two guys and I just see that Vince is a little bit more progressed in where he's at in his career. It's not to say that Austin is not great, is not a very legit contender and fighter in the UFC and lightweight division, which is a shark tank as it is. But I just think when you're talking brute, they're both brutes. Just violent dudes who are a car crash who meet in the middle. I think that it's a hard night for anybody in the world to go out there and out-brute Vince Pichel. Vince Pichel is only 13-2. His last loss coming years ago to Gregor Gillespie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going to go out there and dig any deeper than Vince Pichel. I think that guy's going to drag him to hell, and he's going to enjoy every minute of it.
I think that either way, we're going to see fireworks in this matchup. If you're feeling a little bit froggy and daring to leap, there is a plus 500 line on Vince Pichel for the finish there. Josh, who do you have your spotlight on?
My spotlight here, Jordan, is going to go to the People's Main Event, or what it should have been, the co-main event. Man, Pantoja and Royval, this is a banger, and it's starting out the card, and immediately you get the first fight is going to be a banger of these two high-ranked flyweights. I think it's crazy that it's the first one, but hey, I'm excited about it.
Oh yeah. And
if you're looking out here, how Brandon Royval win by submission? How is it a plus 1,000 in the first, a plus 2,800 in round two? If you're looking at value, I'm hammering that all day, because if you know Brandon, anyone who's watched Brandon, he attacks nonstop. So anywhere this fight goes, he's going to be attacking. He's going to be looking for the finish. That's going to be my spotlight.
Bring out that big Thor's hammer and hammer down on the second round submission finish.
Let's go.
You heard it right there. Stick around after the break, folks. We're going to go through the world of combat sports and current events. We are also going to be lacing up the gloves and going 3 rounds to cap off the hour. Stick around. This is the MMA Plug presented by DenverSportsBetting.com on 98.1 FM Mile High Sports Radio. You can stream us worldwide at www.milehighsports.com. Hit us up on the Go Fast Energy Drink hotline and text line at 303-831-1340. I'm Jordan Kurtz, sitting alongside Josh Fremd.
Yeah, little thick bitch, fine little mamacita. Always coolin' by the pool, drinking margaritas. Yeah, it's pippin' over here and we ain't trippin' over pesos. I know it's good now, but luego